And now let's look into a last workflow that was very interesting to build. So I've created here for our deals. So we do have this list of interactions that we had with deals. And what I've built is here, this new button that when clicked, you get a waiting screen, a loading screen for a couple seconds. And there you get these 3 bullet points that summarize the progress, the status of this deal based on all the interactions as well as their initial requests. So the way I have created that is here in my deals detail block. I have added a new button that this time so doesn't create a record, edit a record, but actually runs a custom workflow. We are sending to this workflow some data here, so the deal ID, so we will be able to reuse that data within the workflow, and we have linked this here to a workflow here that starts with this very specific trigger that is run custom workflow, which explains that you have to actually connect that to an app as we have done right here. So whenever a user is clicking, it will pass here the deal ID that we will then be able to reuse within the workflow. But first, we can see here that we have an option to show a waiting screen, and that's what we had, and we have 3 different styles here, and we can also customize the text that you see and also what you see after 10 or 20 seconds to let your user know that something is happening in the background. So as a first step here, we are going to find, thanks to the deal ID that we sent through the button, we're going to fetch all the data from that deal so that we are able to reuse it later in the workflow. We could also have passed all that data alongside the deal ID, but we can also do it that way so that right after that, we will search all the interactions that match here the same company. So we will get all the context about all these interactions from that same company. And I think we had 6 of them here. Yeah. So we get these 6 interactions that, if you remember, have all their content being stored. And that's our way to be AI ready with this app, because now we are able to pass both here the list of all records that we just found. So step 4 here, all the interactions are being given to an AI, and we say summarize interactions we've had and take into account the initial demo request message, which we're also mapping here. And we add some more formatting guidelines here so that we always have these 3 bullet points, which gives something just like that. And what happens next is that we're updating the deal record to actually store that digest, that summary, right in there where we have a dedicated property that we have actually mapped in here. So that's what we see when there is no data, and that's what we see when something arrived. And once this workflow is over, we are showing here a success message saying that the summary is ready. And navigation-wise, we're staying on the same page, but we are reloading all the blocks on that current page, which makes sure that this is being refreshed and we see the latest summary that we had. So let's say now there are a couple more meetings or emails being exchanged. The rep could just go in here and hit summarize whenever they need to refresh that. So there could be other ways to do it. We could also build that through a database agent or through some automation that was constantly, whenever a new interaction was logged, would constantly refresh that. But here we decide to make it manual to trigger the refresh, because we don't need to refresh every time an email is being exchanged.